First contact. Captain Maya Chen stood at the observation deck of the International Space Station Artemis, watching Earth rotate slowly beneath her. After 15 years of service in the United Nations Space Command, she thought she'd seen everything space had to offer. She was wrong. "Captain, we're picking up the signal again." Lieutenant Patel's voice crackled through her comm. "It's stronger this time." Maya took a deep breath. "Route it to my station, and get the director on the line." 3 days ago, the Deep Space Monitoring Array had detected an anomalous transmission originating from just beyond Mars' orbit. Not random cosmic noise, but a structured, repeating pattern, unmistakably artificial. The first confirmed extraterrestrial communication in human history, and it had landed in Maya's lap. She floated through the station's central corridor, passing crew members who gave her respectful nods. Everyone aboard knew something momentous was happening, though only a select few knew exactly what. Director Okafor's face appeared on the screen the moment she entered the command center. His normally composed features were tight with tension. "Captain Chen, we've confirmed it. The signal is being broadcast from a vessel that wasn't there yesterday." His voice was measured, but Maya could hear the underlying excitement. "Current estimate puts it at roughly 2 kilometers in length." Maya's throat went dry. "A ship that size, how did it approach without detection?" "That's what I need you to find out. The Security Council has authorized first contact protocols. You're the senior officer in position." Maya felt her pulse quicken. Everything in her career, hell, everything in human history, had been building to this moment. "Understood, sir. What are my parameters?" "Establish communication. Determine their intentions. And Captain." Okafor hesitated. "Represent humanity well." The transmission ended, leaving Maya staring at her reflection in the black screen. Around her, the command crew waited in silence. "Patel, get me telemetry on the vessel. Rodriguez, prepare the Horizon shuttle. Watson, assemble the first contact team." Her voice was steady despite the weight settling on her shoulders. "And everyone, remember your training." 6 hours later, the Horizon shuttle detached from Artemis, carrying Maya and a carefully selected team of 5 specialists: a xenolinguist, a xenobiologist, a physicist, a military tactical officer, and a diplomatic advisor. As they approached the massive alien vessel, Maya couldn't help but marvel at its design, organic yet geometric, with a pearlescent hull that seemed to absorb rather than reflect light. "It's beautiful," whispered Dr. Amelia Rice, the xenolinguist. "Let's hope its occupants are friendly," countered Major Dawson, the tactical officer, his hand resting instinctively on his sidearm. As they drew closer, a section of the vessel's hull shimmered and dissolved, revealing an opening. "They're inviting us in," Maya said, making her decision. "Pilot, take us through, but maintain emergency protocols." The shuttle glided into a cavernous bay that sealed behind them. The gravity shifted subtly, artificial, and slightly lighter than Earth standard. "Atmosphere reads as oxygen-nitrogen mix," reported Dr. Nesser, the xenobiologist. "Surprisingly compatible with our physiology." "That seems convenient," Dawson muttered. Maya adjusted her uniform. "Or deliberate. Stay alert, but remember, we're guests here." When the shuttle door opened, Maya was the first to step out. The bay was softly lit with a blue-green luminescence that seemed to emanate from the walls themselves. And waiting for them, arranged in a perfect semicircle, were the aliens. They were tall, nearly 7 feet, with slender bodies covered in what appeared to be an iridescent exoskeleton that shifted colors with their breathing. Their heads were elongated with large, multifaceted eyes that reminded Maya of insect eyes, though softer, more expressive. They had 4 arms, each ending in 7-fingered hands. One stepped forward, its exoskeleton pulsing with gentle blues and greens. It raised its upper right hand in what Maya interpreted as a greeting. "We are the Velari." The alien spoke, its voice a melodious hum that somehow formed perfect English. "I am Ambassador Thylara. We have been studying your transmissions for some time. Maya stepped forward, heart pounding. I am Captain Maya Chen of the United Nations Space Command. On behalf of humanity, we welcome you. The Velari ambassador's colors rippled. We wish our meeting came under better circumstances, Captain. We seek your help. Maya maintained her composure, though confusion flickered across her face. Our help. With all due respect, Ambassador, your technology seems far beyond ours. Technology is not everything, Captain Chen. Thalura responded, colors shifting to deeper blues. We are pursued by an enemy that has destroyed a dozen worlds. The Karax horde consumes every civilization it encounters, strips planets bare and enslaves or eradicates the inhabitants. Maya exchanged glances with her team. And you've come to warn us. To warn you, yes, but also to request your aid. The Karax will find your world eventually. They sense developing civilizations, but we believe that together we might have a chance. Major Dawson stepped forward. With respect, if your advanced civilization couldn't stop these Karax, what could we possibly offer? Ambassador Thalura's colors swirled into amber patterns, something the Velari do not possess, something we have observed in your species through your transmissions, your history, your entertainment. And what's that? Maya asked. The warrior spirit. Another Velari spoke, stepping forward. This one's exoskeleton bore intricate patterns that Maya would later learn indicated military rank. I am Fleet Commander Xerix. We Velari evolved as a cooperative species. We excel in science, medicine, arts, but we lack the capacity for effective warfare. Maya processed this information, the implications hitting her with full force. You're saying you need us to fight for you. To fight with us, Thalura corrected. To teach us. Your species has something remarkable. You prepare for conflict even in peace. You develop strategies, contingencies. Your entire history is shaped by warfare, yet you have not destroyed yourselves. Maya stood silent for a moment, the weight of this revelation settling on her shoulders. An advanced alien species, crossing the stars to ask humans, the newcomers to interstellar travel, for help because of their capacity for violence. We need to report this to Earth, she finally said. This decision goes far beyond my authority. Thalura's colors pulsed with urgency. Of course, but please understand, Captain, time is precious. The Karax have already destroyed 3 of our colony worlds. They will find us soon, and then you. 48 hours later, Maya sat in the United Nations Security Council chamber in New York, surrounded by the most powerful leaders on Earth. She had just finished briefing them on the Velari's request, and the room buzzed with tension. President Garcia of the North American Alliance leaned forward. Let me get this straight, Captain. These aliens want us, humanity, to teach them how to wage war. Yes, Madam President, Maya confirmed. The Velari are a peaceful species by nature. Their technological advancement came through cooperation, not competition. They simply don't have the instinct for conflict. But they're asking us to battle an enemy that's already defeated them numerous times, General Zhao of the Chinese Federation pointed out. This seems suicidal. Dr. Reyes, who had accompanied Maya to the briefing, spoke up. The Velari believe that our military strategies combined with their technology could change the outcome. They've studied our history extensively. They're particularly impressed by humanity's capacity for asymmetric warfare and unconventional tactics. They're impressed by our violence, the European Union Chancellor said dryly. They're impressed by our resilience, Maya countered. By our ability to adapt, to think laterally, to fight against overwhelming odds. The Russian premier's expression darkened. And if we refuse, if we simply prepare to defend Earth alone. Maya activated a holographic display showing sensor data from the Velari ship. The Karax fleet is vast, and their technology is nearly equal to the Velari's. The Velari estimate Earth has 3 years, perhaps 4, before the Karax detect us independently, and without Velari technology to enhance our defenses. She let the implication hang in the air. President Garcia sighed. So either we fight them now with allies, or fight them later, alone. There's something else, Maya added, her voice solemn. The Velari showed me footage of what happens to worlds conquered by the Karax. She activated another hologram, and the room fell silent as they watched cities burning, civilians being processed in massive camps, entire ecosystems collapsing as massive harvester ships stripped planets bare. The Karax don't just conquer, Maya said quietly. They consume. They leave nothing behind. Secretary General Abara, who had remained silent until now, finally spoke. We will need time to discuss this among ourselves, Captain Chen. But I believe I speak for everyone when I say that humanity will not hide from this threat. He looked around the room, receiving nods of agreement from the assembled leaders. How soon can the Velari representatives address this assembly? He asked. They're waiting in orbit, sir. They can be here within hours. Then let us prepare to receive them, the Secretary General said. It seems humanity is about to enter the galactic stage, not as explorers, but as warriors. As Maya left the chamber, she found Major Dawson waiting in the hallway. How did they take it? He asked. About as well as can be expected when told that aliens want humans to fight their wars, Maya replied, running a hand through her short black hair. But they're listening. Dawson nodded thoughtfully. You know, throughout human history, we've always feared that first contact would mean invasion. That aliens would come to conquer us, exploit our resources. Instead, they've come asking for our help. Maya finished. Ironic, isn't it? Maybe not, Dawson said. Maybe violence isn't the universal language after all. Maybe it's the will to protect others. Maya glanced back at the chamber doors, behind which Earth's leaders were deciding humanity's role in an interstellar conflict. Let's hope we can do that, Major, because if we can't protect the Velari, then we can't protect ourselves, Dawson concluded grimly. Above them, silently orbiting Earth, the massive Velari vessel waited, a harbinger of both opportunity and danger. And somewhere in the darkness between the stars, the Karax horde continued its relentless advance, unaware that their next target had found an unlikely ally, a young species with a talent for war. In her hotel room that night, Maya stared out at the New York skyline, wondering if the glittering buildings would still stand in 5 years' time. Her comm unit chirped, displaying an encrypted message from Director Okafor. Decision made. Operation Sentinel approved. Report to Andrews at 600. Humanity had answered the call. Now they would see if they were truly ready for war among the stars. The Alliance. Admiral William Jackson had seen 3 wars in his lifetime: the South China Sea conflict, the Second Arabian Crisis, and the Arctic Resource War. At 62, he thought he'd been appointed to the Joint Chiefs as a ceremonial final posting before retirement. Now, he stood in the newly established Interspecies Strategic Command Center beneath Mount Cheyenne, watching as humans and Velari worked side by side to prepare for a war unlike any humanity had ever faced. Amazing, isn't it? Maya Chen said, approaching the Admiral. Now Colonel Chen. She had been promoted and appointed as the primary liaison between human military forces and the Velari. Jackson nodded, his weathered face solemn. 6 months ago, our biggest concern was territory disputes in Earth orbit. Now we're planning battles light years away. On the massive holographic display dominating the center of the room, a simulation showed Earth's consolidated fleet, a hastily assembled collection of repurposed spacecraft enhanced with Velari technology, engaging the simulated Karax battle group. The simulation ended with Earth's forces decimated. Again. 12th simulation today, Jackson sighed. 12th defeat. Maya studied the replay critically. We're thinking too conventionally. The Karax have fought species like the Velari before, technologically advanced, predictable. They haven't faced humans. What are you suggesting, Colonel? Maya's eyes gleamed. Permission to establish a special tactical unit, sir. One that combines Velari tech with human. Creativity. Jackson's eyebrow rose. You have something specific in mind. I do, sir. And I guarantee the Karax won't see it coming. 3 weeks later, Maya stood before 20 hand-picked soldiers from a dozen nations, the best special forces operators Earth had to offer. Beside her stood Xerix, the Velari fleet commander, his exoskeleton shifting into patterns of deep purple and gold. You've all been briefed on the Karax, Maya began without preamble. What you haven't been told is that our first engagement is imminent. Velari long-range sensors have detected Karax scout vessels approaching the Sol system. A murmur ran through the assembled soldiers. Our mission is simple. Intercept and eliminate these scouts before they can report back. If they discover the Velari have sought refuge here, the Karax will dispatch their main fleet immediately. A grizzled Norwegian Special Forces captain raised his hand. With respect, Colonel, we've seen the simulations. Conventional engagement ends with us destroyed. Maya smiled thinly. That's why we won't be engaging conventionally. She nodded to Xerix. The Velari commander stepped forward. The Karax rely heavily on energy-based weaponry and defenses. Their shields are calibrated against similar weapons, the kind my people use, but they have little experience with kinetic weapons, Maya finished. Bullets, missiles, physical projectiles. The Velari stopped using them millennia ago as inefficient and primitive. The Karax have optimized their defenses against energy weapons, not hunks of metal moving at high velocity. She tapped a console, and holographic images of modified weapons appeared. Modified railguns, she explained, firing tungsten penetrators at a significant fraction of light speed. Velari power sources and acceleration technology paired with good old-fashioned human ballistics. Lieutenant Santos, a Brazilian Marine, whistled. That's going to leave a mark. That's the idea, Maya confirmed. We've also adapted conventional nuclear warheads with Velari phase-shifting technology to bypass shields. Commander Lai from Chinese Special Forces frowned. The Karax must have encountered projectile weapons before. They have, Xerix acknowledged, his colors rippling. But they consider them inefficient, primitive weapons used by primitive species. They do not consider them worthy of significant defensive consideration. Their arrogance will be their weakness, Maya said. Team Spectre will deploy on the modified stealth vessel in 48 hours. Our objective is to ambush the Karax scouts near Jupiter's orbit. After the briefing, Maya found Xerix in the observation deck, staring at Earth through the reinforced windows. Do your people resent us? She asked quietly. Xerix's colors shifted to contemplative blues. Some do. The concept of intentional violence is difficult for many Velari to accept, but most understand the necessity. And you? The Velari commander was silent for a moment. I commanded our fleet during the fall of Velos Prime. I watched 10,000 years of civilization burn in a day because we could not bear to strike first, could not bring ourselves to kill, even to save ourselves. His colors darkened. I do not resent humans, Maya Chen. I envy your clarity of purpose. Maya stepped closer to the window, Earth's blue curve filling her vision. There's nothing enviable about our history of violence. Xerix. Perhaps not the violence itself, he conceded, but the will behind it, the determination to survive, to protect what you love, regardless of cost. His multifaceted eyes reflected the planet below. That is something my people must learn, if we are to survive the Karax. 2 days later, the prototype stealth vessel Shadow of Earth slipped away from the lunar shipyards. A hybrid of human and Velari design, it was barely visible even to the enhanced sensors of its creators. Aboard were Maya, Xerix, and the 18 members of Team Spectre. Lieutenant Commander Imani Okoro, formerly of Nigerian Special Forces, studied the unfamiliar controls at her station. Never thought I'd be piloting an alien spaceship to ambush other aliens. Life comes at you fast, quipped Sergeant Ryan O'Neill, the team's demolitions expert, securing his modified combat suit. Maya moved through the ship's central corridor. checking preparations. The plan was simple but risky. Position themselves in the shadow of one of Jupiter's moons, then strike when the Kerak scouts passed nearby. If they succeeded, Earth would gain precious time to prepare its defenses. If they failed, we won't fail, she told herself firmly. 20 hours later, Shadow of Earth hovered silently in the dark side of Callisto. Internal systems were minimized, heat signatures dampened by Velari technology. The ship was effectively invisible to conventional sensors. "Contact," whispered Specialist Julia Navarro from the sensor station. 3 Kerak vessels approaching Jupiter orbit. On the main display, Maya saw them. Angular, predatory shapes moving with purpose through the vacuum. Unlike the organic curves of Velari design, Kerak ships bristled with weapon emplacements and sensor arrays. "They're scanning," Xerix reported, his colors muted to near invisibility in the dim light. Methodical sweep pattern. Maya felt sweat beading on her forehead despite the cool air. "Maintain position. Wait for optimal alignment." Minutes stretched like hours as the Kerak vessels moved closer, their path taking them exactly where Maya had predicted, using Jupiter's gravity well to accelerate their scan of the inner solar system. "Optimal firing solution in 30 seconds, Navarro announced. Maya watched the countdown, then gave the order every human warrior throughout history would recognize. "Fire." From the shadow of Callisto, Shadow of Earth unleashed its first volley. 6 modified railgun projectiles accelerated to near-relativistic speeds. The tungsten penetrators crossed the space between the vessels in seconds, striking the lead Kerak ship before its sensors could even register the attack. The effect was catastrophic. Designed to withstand energy weapons, the Kerak shields did nothing against solid projectiles moving at such speeds. The penetrators punched through the vessel's hull, the kinetic energy of impact converting instantly to heat and light. The Kerak ship shuddered, then broke apart in a silent explosion. "Direct hit," Navarro called out. "Target 1 destroyed." The remaining Kerak vessels reacted immediately, shields flaring as they powered weapons, but they were firing at where the attack had come from, not where Shadow of Earth had already relocated to. "Second firing solution locked," O'Neill reported calmly. "Modified nuclear packages armed." Maya hesitated for just a heartbeat. This was it, humanity's first deliberate attack on another sentient species. "Execute," she ordered. 4 modified nuclear warheads launched, their detonation sequences accelerated by Velari technology. They phased through the Kerak shields as if they weren't there, materializing directly adjacent to the hulls of the 2 remaining vessels. The explosion was blinding even through the filtered view screens. When the light faded, only debris remained where the Kerak scouts had been. The bridge was silent for a long moment. "Confirmed," Navarro finally said, her voice trembling slightly. "All 3 Kerak vessels destroyed. No distress signals detected." A cheer erupted from the human crew members. Maya didn't join them. She caught Xerix's eye across the bridge. The Velari commander's colors were shifting through patterns she couldn't interpret. "Are you all right?" she asked quietly. "I have never witnessed the deliberate destruction of sentient life before," Xerix replied, his voice subdued. "It is disturbing, yet I feel relief as well." Maya understood. "That's war, Commander. No glory, just necessity." She turned to the crew. "Secure from battle stations and set course for Earth. We've bought ourselves some time, but the real fight is just beginning." As Shadow of Earth accelerated away from Jupiter, none of its crew noticed the small automated probe that had detached from one of the Kerak vessels before its destruction, a dead man signal, programmed to return to its fleet if contact was lost. The probe oriented itself, calculated a course out of the solar system, and vanished into hyperspace, carrying news of the Kerak's first defeat at human hands. 2 weeks later, the United Earth Defense Council convened in the underground facility known as Fortress Alpha. Representatives from every major nation sat alongside Velari delegates, reviewing the data from the Jupiter engagement. The ambush was completely successful, Admiral Jackson reported. The Carracks never even got off an effective counterattack. Chinese General Wu nodded appreciatively. The railgun concept proved particularly effective. We should prioritize production immediately. Already underway, Brazilian Defense Minister Silva confirmed. Every shipyard from orbit to Australia is being converted. With Velari assistance, we can produce 50 vessels equipped with similar weapons within 6 months. Ambassador Thalara, her exoskeleton shimmering with cautious optimism, addressed the council. This victory, while important, represents only a small engagement against scout vessels. The Carracks' main fleet consists of hundreds of warships, including their planet killers. Then we build more ships, Russian General Petrov said firmly. How many can we construct in a year with full global cooperation? The numbers were projected onto the main display. Resources, production capacity, timeline. With Velari technology accelerating human manufacturing, the estimates were impressive, but still insufficient against the projected Carracks fleet strength. Maya, seated beside Xerix, studied the projections with growing concern. We can't match them ship for ship, she said. We need a different approach. Colonel Chen is right, Jackson agreed. We need asymmetric advantages, ways to multiply our effectiveness. What about taking the fight to them? Suggested the Indian Admiral Singh. A preemptive strike on their fleet while it's still mobilizing. Xerix's colors darkened. The Carracks' home territory is heavily defended. A direct assault would be suicide. Not necessarily, Maya interjected, an idea forming. What about their conquered territories, the Velari colonies they've occupied? Thylara's colors pulsed with surprise. You suggest attacking occupied Valar? There are millions of our people imprisoned there. Exactly, Maya said, leaning forward. Millions of potential allies behind enemy lines. If we could arm them, create an uprising coordinated with an external attack. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Guerrilla warfare, Jackson murmured, on a planetary scale. Xerix's colors shifted rapidly. Shock, consideration, then gradual acceptance. The Carracks would never expect the conquered to fight back. We Velari have always surrendered when defeated. But humans don't, Maya said quietly, and we can teach your people to resist. The discussion continued for hours, strategies proposed and debated. By the end, a daring plan had taken shape. Operation Liberation Dawn would target Valar IV, the nearest occupied Velari colony. A small strike force would infiltrate the planet, arm the imprisoned Velari population, and coordinate a planet-wide uprising, while Earth's growing fleet engaged the Carracks' orbital defenses. As the council adjourned, Xerix approached Maya in the corridor outside. You truly believe we can retake a world already conquered by the Carracks? He asked. Maya met his gaze steadily. History is full of occupied peoples who rose up against their oppressors, Commander. Sometimes all they needed was hope and weapons. Xerix considered this. Velari are not natural warriors, Colonel Chen. Neither were most humans until necessity made us so, Maya replied. War isn't in our DNA, Xerix. It's a skill learned through bitter necessity. And now, we'll teach you. As they walked together toward the planning center, alarms suddenly blared throughout the facility. Maya's comm unit activated automatically. Colonel Chen to command center immediately, came the urgent voice of Admiral Jackson. Minutes later, Maya and Xerix entered the command center to find it buzzing with tense activity. Jackson stood before the main display, his face grim. What's happened? Maya asked. Jackson gestured to the screen, which showed a long-range sensor reading. Velari deep space monitors just detected this, a massive hyperspace signature heading toward the Sol system. Initial analysis suggests at least 30 Carracks warships. Maya felt her blood run cold. How long? At current speed, they'll reach our outer defenses in 2 weeks, Jackson replied. Operation Liberation Dawn is now our only option. We can't defend Earth against that fleet. Not yet. We need to hit them elsewhere. Force them to divide their forces. Maya looked at Xerix, whose colors had shifted to a resolute gold she'd never seen before. Then we go to war, the Velari commander said simply. Around them, humanity prepared for its first interstellar conflict. Factories worldwide converted to war production. Civilians trained for planetary defense, and diplomatic channels opened with the Velari refugees scattered throughout the galaxy. The greatest alliance in Earth's history was forming, not among human nations, but between species separated by light years and evolutionary paths. In her quarters that night, Maya studied the personnel files for the infiltration team she would lead to Velar IV. 20 humans and 10 Velari volunteers. 30 individuals tasked with igniting a rebellion on an occupied world. Her door chimed, and Xerix entered, carrying a small metallic object. "This belonged to my ancestor," he said, placing it on her desk. It resembled a medallion, inscribed with flowing Velari script. He was the last of our kind to lead warriors in battle, over 8,000 years ago. Maya carefully picked up the medallion. What does the inscription say? When peace fails, courage must not, Xerix translated. I believe he would approve of it being carried by a human warrior now. Maya felt the weight of the medallion, and the responsibility it represented. I'll return it to you when this is over. I know you will, Xerix replied, his colors rippling with what Maya had learned to recognize as determination. Because humans keep their promises, especially in war. As Xerix left, Maya turned back to her preparations. In 7 days, she would lead the first human military expedition to another star system. In 14 days, the Carax would reach Earth if her mission failed. The clock was ticking, and the stars were no longer silent.